Hello and welcome. I am Dr. Lara, a clinical pharmacist specializing in functional medicine, as well as a certified yoga teacher and Reiki master. I run a truly integrative health coaching practice encompassing functional medicine lab testing, yoga and meditation, and a sprinkling of Reiki energy medicine. Join me here on Light Body Radio to break through your health plateau and come into alignment with your natural vitality. Hello and welcome everyone to another episode of Wellness Illuminated on Light Body Radio. I am your host, Dr. Lara May, and today I am excited to bring you sort of an intro to the world of peptides. It's a topic that's been lighting up the functional community a lot lately, and I wanted to make sure that you have a place to find some really good, solid information to guide you along the way. So, if you're wondering what peptides are, how they work, and why they can be such a game changer for even just the basics of healthy aging and reducing inflammation, then that's where we're going today. So, we're going to break down the science, explore their mechanisms in the body, and even spotlight a few that it might help you to consider adding to your wellness toolkit. So, grab your cup of tea or head out on your walk and let's get started. So, what are peptides? So, let's start simple, of course. That's where I love to always begin. Simple is great. Peptides are a short chain of amino acids. Think of them as smaller, more agile cousins of protein. So, technically, the definition of a protein is just a chain of amino acids, and that's what peptides are. They're just short proteins. So, amino acids are the building blocks of life. If you know anything about DNA, you know your DNA is made up of amino acids. You know RNA is made up of amino acids. So, they really are the building block of our lives. And when they link up in specific sequences, they form what we call peptides. And they act like little tiny messengers in the body. Your cells have receptors on their surfaces, and the peptides bind to these receptors, sort of like a key fitting into a lock. And when they do this, they trigger specific actions. So it can be repairing tissue, it can be balancing hormones, it can be calming inflammation, it can be a variety of things that are the happy end result. But essentially, the peptide is binding to the cell surface, and that's that little lock and key. And when they come together, then you get your happy end result. So, your body makes peptides naturally to keep things running smoothly. But of course, as we age and we face chronic stress and we deal with environmental toxins, that natural production can falter or can become suboptimal. And that's where peptide therapy can come in. So, it's a way to replenish those signals and or enhance your body's own signals. So, sort of help trigger them or remember them how to function at their best. And so it really helps your body to do what it's designed to do, which is heal and thrive and live in a state of homeostasis. So in functional medicine, it's a perfect complement because it fits our mission as functional medicine practitioners perfectly. We support the body's systems holistically. So we're not practicing Band-Aid medicine. This is not just about symptoms, but it's about whole body balance and whole body homeostasis. And that's really what peptides aim to do, especially when used strategically, specifically, and complementary. So now let's go a little level deeper. How do peptides actually work in the body? Again, it depends on the peptide, but really what's happening is they're working at the cellular level. And the peptides are all about communication. So when a peptide binds to a receptor on a cell, it sets off a cascade of signals inside the cell. And this could mean turning on a gene, releasing a hormone, ramping up production of other proteins that repair cell damage. It's like giving your cells a precise set of instructions tailored to what's out of balance. So let's get a little bit more specific and provide some context. So maybe this starts to hit home a little better. So let's take inflammation, for example. And I know I said more context and inflammation is super general, but just bear with me. I promise this will make sense. So take inflammation. It's a big player in aging and chronic disease and chronic inflammation. We talk about it a lot on this podcast. Some peptides, like BPC157, work by boosting the production of growth factors that repair damaged tissue while also dialing down pro inflammatory signals like cytokines. So, other peptides like thymosin beta 4 can help regulate actin, which is a protein in your cells that specifically live in your muscles. You might have remember actin and myosin from way back in Bio 101 when we talk about a muscle contraction. But it's also a protein that lives in your cells that's key for healing wounds and reducing scar tissue. So, the result from these is less inflammation, faster recovery, and a body that can feel more resilient. Again, remember that faster recovery because even as we're getting older, of course, we're still working out and of course, we're still pushing our body. But sometimes it takes us longer to recover. We feel achy and sore longer than we used to when we were younger. So, these can really help, again, speed that recovery and keep us moving in the right direction, which is, happy and healthy. So, we also want to consider growth hormone releasing peptides like CJC1295. And these guys talk to your pituitary gland and tells it to release more growth hormone. That hormone then travels through your bloodstream, signaling cells to repair, regenerate, even burn fat more efficiently. And this is a big one that as we age, growth hormone naturally declines. So it's a normal part of just getting older as a human being. But that doesn't mean it necessarily has to be. And this isn't a growth hormone supplement. Again, when you use this peptide, you're just signaling your body to make more of what it already makes. So, it's a domino effect. It's a very small peptide, but it has a huge impact. And what I love about this is how targeted it is. Unlike a drug that might suppress a symptom across the board, peptides work with your body's natural pathways, fine tuning them for optimal function. So, why do peptides resonate so much in the field of functional medicine? And honestly, it's because we're obsessed with root causes. Again, we don't look at symptoms or band aid medicine. We want to get to the root cause and, rebalance whatever that is. And so you get a true solution and not just a tiny fix for that one symptom. So we don't just want to quiet a noisy joint or boost energy with a quick fix. I mean, all those things are nice, but we want a lasting solution. We want to know why the joints are inflamed. We want to know why we're exhausted. Peptides give us a way to address those whys at a cellular level, supporting the body system as a whole organism. They're not a one size fits all solution. They're customizable tools, and we use them to meet your unique needs at your level as the patient. So, I wanted to give you a little bit of background into some specific peptides that, again, are just going to focus on anti inflammatory function and healthy aging. So, here is a quick list that I feel like are easy to start with. But again, you always want to work with a practitioner, and because you do want to be monitoring different things along the way. So BPC 157 is, you can think of it as a body protection compound. And this one is a rock star for healing. It's derived from a protein in your stomach and works by promoting angiogenesis, and that's the growth of new blood vessels, and reducing inflammation. So it's fantastic for gut health, joint repair, even soothing an overactive stress response. Imagine it as your body's repair crew, patching up leaks wherever they pop up. This is a really a good basic sort of workhorse peptide. The next two are used in concert together. You can even find them instead of separately. You can find them compounded in one formulation. CJC 1295 with ipamorelin. And this is a dynamic duo that stimulates growth hormone release from your pituitary gland. And why does that matter? Growth hormone helps rebuild muscle, improve skin elasticity, and boost metabolism, all keys for aging gracefully. Plus, it supports deeper sleep, which is super important. We talk about it a lot on this show, and which is when your body does its best repair work, is when you're sleeping. So less inflammation equals more vitality. Number 3 is thymosin beta 4 or TB500. This peptide is all about tissue regeneration and calming inflammation. It regulates actin in your cells, which speeds up wound healing and reduces scar tissue. It's a go-to for anyone recovering from injuries or dealing with chronic inflammation like arthritis or overworked muscles. Think of it as your body's reset button for damaged tissue. The next one is GHKCU, a copper peptide, and this little gem is naturally present in your body but declines with aging as well. It's a copper binding peptide that supports collagen production, fights oxidative stress, and tamps down inflammation. And studies have shown that it can improve skin health, hair growth, and even brain function. It's like an anti-aging multitasker for real, you guys. And then the last one that I just want to throw in today is thymosin alpha 1, which is an optional add-on. If your immune system needs a boost, say you're prone to colds or have an autoimmune flare, this one might be worth considering talking to your practitioner about. It enhances T cell function, helping your immune system stay balanced and responsive. So less immune chaos means less inflammation, which obviously, again, ties directly to your healthy aging. So these are just a starting point. And the beauty of peptides is how they can be tailored to you. Pair them with a solid foundation, of course, good nutrition, healthy movement, good stress management, and you have a for sure recipe for vitality and maintaining that vitality as we age. So, what might this look like in your life? What are some real life applications? So, you might be in your 40s or 50s noticing more joint stiffness and being slower to recover after workouts. And the BPC 157 and TB 500 could help you bounce back faster and ease that inflammation. Or maybe you're starting to notice you're waking up groggy and feeling older than you actually are. And that's where CJC 1295 and ipamorelin could sharpen your energy and your sleep quality. So I've seen people go from very much meh to wow with these tools. And I want you to know that these are based by research. They're backed by research. They are not illegal at all. And they are readily available out there. Most of them come in an injectable form, but you can also get some of them in oral or topical or nasal sprays. So it just depends. Again, this is why it's really important to find a local practitioner that you can work with, that's knowledgeable about these things, and that can guide you through them. Figure out what you're looking for, where you feel like you need that little extra support, and so that they can form a plan that's specific to you with the appropriate dosing and the appropriate sourcing from a reputable source. So they are definitely powerful and helpful, but they're not a standalone fix. So they work best when your basics are already dialed. And that doesn't mean that, if you're struggling with, inflammation or an autoimmune condition or whatever, that you can't use them. But again, work with your practitioner, talk about it, see like maybe it's just best to start with one and to help your body give it that little extra boost to get rebalanced. And then once you're feeling better, then your body is most likely can support a little bit extra throughout these chemical functions. So you don't want to throw too much at a body that's inflamed and not optimized and not working well, because a lot of times that can just actually create more problems for you. So you definitely, again, I feel like I'm sounding like a broken record, but I'm going to say it again. You need to find and work with a practitioner who knows their stuff. Someone who can move through lab testing with you. Again, test, don't guess. Source quality peptides and monitor your progress. Keep in mind that cost is definitely going to be a factor here. Peptide therapy is an investment. It is not cheap. But for many, the payoff is totally worth it because they start to feel better. And it's one of those things that it finally is sort of like the missing link that they've been waiting for, especially if they've been on their healthcare journey a while and they feel like I've been doing all the right things, but there's still something missing. Maybe this is it. So, are you ready to explore more peptides? Start by asking yourself, what's your biggest health hurdle right now? And then connect yourself with a functional medicine pro who is peptide savvy. So, if you're in the Tahoe area or Reno area and you want to reach out, I'm definitely happy to discuss and put you in contact with some great sourcing and whatever might be appropriate for you. Then we'll talk about it and we'll see where you are. It's really interesting, even if you're not going to go in the peptide direction, but if you're looking at functional medicine in general, it's really important how protocols are put together because of how our body heals and the process that takes. And so you really want to make sure that even your functional medicine protocols are organized in the correct order to help your body as much as possible. You want to make sure your gut health is optimized. And then once your gut health is optimized, then do a detox. Because if you do a detox before your gut health is optimized, a lot of times your gut is not healthy enough to handle the detox and you could end up feeling worse. And it's not to say that the detox was a total waste or loss. It probably wasn't, but it probably could have been a lot more valuable for you if you had taken the time to focus on your gut health first and then go towards the detox. So that's just an example. But a lot of times, depending on where you are in your severity of inflammation, it may or may not behoove you to take certain steps and or it's very important to be mindful of what's the order of operations when we're going about these things. Again, that's why it comes back to who are you working with and doing your research on them and making sure that you vibe with them and they vibe with you and that you have a practitioner that listens to you, that is not afraid to change the protocol if necessary. Because again, like each person's different. And even if we have a protocol and we have an appropriate order of operations, that doesn't mean that along the way things might need to be or not be tweaked for that specific person. So I hope that this episode today provided you with some background, some information, again, got your, brain juices flowing and asking questions and thinking about, how this may or may not fit in for you. So I think it's fascinating and I love working with these peptides. I think they're a great bridge, not only between the science and the research, but also our body's natural healing power. And I also love that they're not a lifelong commitment. They're meant to be just a short term boost to get your body back on track. And again, back to homeostasis. So I really like that as well. So, anyway, until next time, definitely share this episode if you think, someone could benefit from it. If you've had a conversation with a friend or family member about peptides and you really didn't feel like you had enough information, maybe share this episode with that person in that context. And whatever it is, reach out with questions and comments. And I love you guys, and I'll catch you on the next episode.